guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers again. Thanks for joining me on another episode of Saving Tractors. Go check out Norman over at iSaveTractors.com. He's a great guy. Thanks for the hat. I save tractors too, so it's fitting that I'm wearing this on this nice cold 28-degree day in Long Island. So I'm up to this now. I've got nothing else to fix except for a few loose ends here and there on 3 or 4 tractors, but it's been kind of dry. Nothing, no mowers, no blowers, no anything that's a good deal for me to pick up, you know. Also, there's a lack of snow, so nothing really to blow, you know what I mean? So snow blower sales have been terrible this year. But anyway, so I've been wanting to fix this Dyt4000 Craftsman lawn tractor that I got for free. That's right, free. Got it for free about 4 months ago. I picked it up with Pete Lombardi over in Shoreham somewhere. Anyway, so as you know, this thing had a 25 horsepower Kohler V-twin. It had 2 blown connecting rods. And so I removed the engine and I parted it out. I got some pretty good money for some of the parts. I still have a lot of the other parts left over. But I got to put an engine in here, you know. And basically there is a concern that this has an electric PTO. Also the height of the crankshaft, as well as the diameter of the shaft, whether it be 1 inch, 1.25 inches, I'm not too sure, you know what I'm saying? Also, because it has an electric PTO, I have to get an engine that has a stator that's at least 15 amps, you know? If it's a 12 amp or less than that, it may not work for the electronic PTO and I'll short circuit something, or it won't be enough energy to have the electronic PTO kick in, you know? So that's another concern too. But it's not like I have any choice, you know? I don't have like an abundance of engines that I could use, you know? So right now I'm gonna show you what I'm planning on doing with this. So number one, I'm gonna remove this hood. The hood is easy to lift off. You just put it at an angle like this and lift it up. It comes right off. That's after you disconnect the wiring to the headlights. As you can see, I've cleaned out this area over here. There's a little bit of fuel that dripped out, so I used that and kind of wiped it, you know, as lubrication. But if you take a look in here, I did blow it out a little bit when I first got it, but it definitely needs to be cleaned out. It's a lot easier to clean it out now that you don't have an engine in it. You follow what I'm saying? So I'm going to take this opportunity and clean my shit. I'm not going to clean it so that it's brand spanking new, but I'm going to blow it out with a leaf blower. Just, you know, that's a ton of crap in there, you know what I mean? You should have saw it before I blew it out the first time, you know? It was even more crap. So there's a lot of shit in there. Battery's good. I was lucky to get that. This entire tractor is in great shape. There's nothing wrong with this tractor, period. Tires, didn't put any air in them. I got it this way, you know? And it's been 4 or 5 months, so excellent. And these tires are actually brand new, see? So like I said, with this tractor, it has the throttle, slow and fast, right? It's got a nice amp gauge over here that you don't see too often, you know? Really nice condition amp gauge. This is the choke lever. It seems kind of stuck right there. There you go, okay. That's nice. Nice choke lever. So you have to have an engine that has a separate choke and throttle. The key ignition. This is the switch for the electronic PTO. And here we have an hour meter. That old engine had only 273 hours. Not very much, you know. Steering wheel appears to be leather wrapped, but it's just a mold, you know. Fake. Either way, it's a nice steering wheel. Seat, almost perfect, right? It's a really nice tractor. One that I absolutely have to get going. Would you not agree? Smooth. I mean, it seems brand new, you know what I'm saying? Tell this is hydrostatic, right? Which I don't like. But it's a very nice tractor. This tractor also came with a triple bagger. Really nice. DYT, this is actually a yard tractor, not a garden or a lawn. It's like in between, you know. So I'm going to take my leaf blower and blow that crap out, take the hood off. So I want to show you what my plans are. So Pete Lombardi, you guys know my buddy Pete Lombardi. He gave me this 14 horsepower Briggs Stratton Opposed Twin engine. We all love these Opposed Twin engines, especially me. I actually rebuilt one, and I found this one on the street, the engine in there. That's a 16 horsepower Opposed Twin. It runs okay. Not great, but it runs okay. So this engine that he gave me, he worked on a little bit, but then he just gave it to me because he knew I needed it. He's a good guy like that, you know. So it was missing a carburetor. It's missing the cover for the right side head, right? That stuff looks actually okay. In addition to that, it doesn't have a stator, doesn't have a magneto. I do have a flywheel for it. It's missing this tin for the other side. So it's missing a few things, and basically before I start working on this, I'm going to tighten up the sump bolts, because that's been an issue, is that you know, you have it off already, so you want to tighten all the bolts to make sure it's nice and tight. It looks like it leaks and it's a mess and stuff like that, but that's only because this has been, you know, moved around my garage a bit, and the excess oil just, you know, basically caked on it. I don't know if there's any leaks or anything like that, but we'll get to it when we find it, you know. So I'm missing a couple of spark plugs, exhaust pipes that go to the double-holed muffin, right? I don't even know if I have those, but we'll see. So I'll have to replace that. Magneto, stator. Here's the flywheel. And I'm not sure whether or not I'm missing some parts, because they make a few versions of it, the flywheel. There's a flat flywheel that you put the plastic blower fan on, right? Since this has already cast solid metal fins, I don't think you need the plastic blower fan. Tell me, guys, if you think I do. And I also have the nut for the crankshaft, right? And I got this from my bit of parts, and I believe it's an Opposed Twin. It fits perfectly, but I don't even know if I actually need a cup for that. I think I do. The cup actually holds the 3 holes there, so you can put you know, the grass mesh cage, whatever. I don't think this is for the Opposed Twin. I think this might have been for another thing, but I mean, I could get it to work, you know, no big deal. Okay, so that's the head for that machine. It didn't have any screws, so I'm looking around for head screws, you know, bolts and stuff like that for the magneto, as well as for the stator, you know. This, I think, is from another one of my Opposed Twins. This is supposed to fit there. We'll see if it does, you know. So there are things that I need to mess with. So I actually have a stator. I'm not sure if this works, but this is from an Opposed Twin. This I got. This is the air cleaner base, which I got. I don't have a filter or a cover, but as you can see, they make several versions of it, and I think this goes on top of the air filter. So I've got some screws for the magneto. Here is a Opposed Twin magneto, Chinese copy I bought for $13, but I think Pete Lombardi has an original one that he's going to give me. I'd like to try that first. This is the 4-screw Nicky carburetor I bought for $38, and basically it was missing some parts. I had an older one, and I just took those parts, and I basically made one perfect one. I mean, this is clean and complete, and this should work well. I basically made one out of 2 part ones, you know. So that was a good deal, $38. I mean, you get a good condition one like this, it's like $120 on eBay. Here's another bin of Opposed Twin parts. I've got a block there, as well as a sump. I got 1 piston. I got some tins. I've got some parts for the Opposed, you know. And over here I've got some more parts for an Opposed. So I mean, I could probably make one perfect engine out of these, you know. I just need some pipes now that I just noticed it. And screws. Oh, what a nightmare to go through those things to find the right bolts and screws, you know. Alright, well anyway, so I'm going to try to build that one engine. If it works on that, fantastic. If it doesn't, if it's not compatible with it, with the PTO and the pulleys and all that stuff, then no matter what, hey, I need engines, right? So no matter what, I'm going to get this engine going. Whether it be for this or for a multitude of tractors that I always get that don't have engines or have blown engines, you know, could always use another one. The only other project I have that doesn't have an engine is that GT6000 that I just got, but I need a horizontal shaft engine for that, which, you know, this is my first one in a couple of years, so I doubt I'm just going to find a horizontal shaft engine just like that, you know. Alright, so I'm going to put you on a tripod, and I'm going to take that hood off and blow out the crap in there. Like I said, take this hood off, it's very easy. Disconnect the lights. And basically just grip the bottom here somewhere along the grill. Lift it up, just like that, boom. Now I'm going to get my Echo leaf blower, got that for free too, and blow that out. Better to blow that out now while you have a chance. Took me forever to find the right size, but apparently 1/2 inch works, you know. So I'm just going slowly, torquing it down. I can turn this about a 1/4 turn, not much, just good. About a 1/4 turn. So I'm just going to go around and do that just to make sure it's tight. So while I was turning the sump bolts, the compression spring area, all the oil came leaking out. Good news is that oil looks pretty good. I made a mess, but it looked like it was pretty good oil, so that's a good sign. While I have it out here now, I'm just gonna clean off a little bit of that grease off the engine block. Oh, incidentally, so half of the bolts required about a 1/2 turn. That one in the middle of it, you know, that's recessed, that needed a whole 1/2 turn. So they're all nice and torqued down now. So I used a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, just to scrape off the caked on grease that's all over the engine block. You can see that mounds and mounds of dried oil just piling up over there. So what I'm going to do now is I've covered up the exhaust ports with some paper, as well as that area with the compressed springs for the valves, since it's open, as well as the exhaust manifold. Just want to make sure that no grease chunks get lodged in there, so I covered up those holes. So as you guys know, I just picked up a new sponsor, Lucas Oil. They sent me a bunch of stuff. Appreciate the products, guys. Thank you very much. And I'm going to use some brake parts cleaner and just try to get out all that gunk. Non-chlorinated brake parts cleaner. This will get out grease and grime and stuff like that. It's designed for getting it off your brakes, but it's good for purposes like this. Carburetor cleaner too, but I think brake parts cleaner is better for all this stuff. I want to get the throttle area very well because that needs to move very freely, you know what I mean? I'm not going to go too crazy. This is the bottom. But I want to make everything clean so that once this is back together again, you can tell where the leaks are, So that if everything is relatively clean, you can see where the leaks are. I'm going to flip it on its other side and soak that. Actually, before it all evaporates, I want it to be nice and wet. And saturated. So I can just use a brush and just go over it. This brush is from an old baby bottle cleaner, because it has bristles on the top and the bottom. So it works well with getting the little crevices and stuff without having to change a brush, I don't know if it looks any better. Do you guys think so? I don't think so. I mean, it's getting it off, This is a dirty job. Mike Rowe would be proud. That one was nice brush off there. Yeah. Have a quick bath. To do this, I'm going to go through a ton of cans. Flip it on its other side now. I'm also going to tighten up these two bolts here too. These 4 bolts. This is the engine access cover. It's a good thing about these Opposed Twins that have that, because if you have blown heads, or blown connecting rods, just take those 4 bolts off and you can see everything inside without taking out the sump, you know, so you can actually inspect this pretty easily.